Breaking news, Nick Reiner's attorney, Alan Jackson, is withdrawing from the case. I am shocked. Thankfully, we got Christopher Melcher here to break it down. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore. We are awaiting a statement from the family, Alan Jackson himself. There is a press conference. We are live. We're going to cut to that when we can. But while we are waiting, we are lucky enough to have
coming out for my court case today.
Oh, this is some joke. Now they're literally putting out huge. They're doing a lot of crazy stuff out there, as you can see, Chris. But Chris, we don't know why yet. Obviously, this is speculative. But I want to start with the first question of, this doesn't look good, does it? Do you want such a star attorney to withdraw this early in the case while the psych eval is happening? What is your sort of initial reaction to this?
Well, it was odd that Alan Jackson was hired so quickly to begin with. Alan is, I know him. He's an incredibly skilled attorney. He's in high demand and he's very expensive. And I got to think he would want $1 million check to sign up for this type of case. And we saw that he leapt into action very quickly. He somehow got access to the family residence as soon as the police forensic team ended. So we're talking within days of the event or incident, Alan Jackson shows up there and gains access through a Reiner assistant into the home. And I'm mentioning this because this is going to be relevant to probably why I think he's exiting the case now.
Oh, okay,
but
interesting.
It was very odd that he got access from a Reiner assistant to get into the home, because the family does not have to allow the defense in there. The defense would have to go to court and get an order for access to do their own forensic investigation of the home by the court if the family didn't let them have access. So here we have access, and we also have a very expensive attorney hired. And so I was thinking, okay, maybe there's a family member that's working with Alan Jackson on behalf of, for the benefit of maybe their brother. Maybe it's a trustee, that a bunch of money being held in trust that the parents set up for Nick, and the trustee is allowing this access to funds in the house. Something like that seemed to have been going on, and which is weird because you figure the family would be like, no, we're not helping this guy at all. He just killed our parents. So very unusual circumstances. Now, what may have happened now is that maybe there was some initial trustee help or something like that with a boatload of dough, and maybe now other family members have stepped in to saying, we are not allowing access to this. They're blocking access to funds from whatever trust to pay a lawyer, and once the lawyer is not going to get paid, the lawyer leaves. So that's one theory. Another theory could be that Alan Jackson had some conflict of interest that he didn't know about when he took the case. So maybe Alan Jackson or his firm had some kind of connection with the Reiners that is now being uncovered and makes it impossible for him to act as counsel for Nick. So that's a second theory.
Right. And those types of theories obviously are sometimes used, even though it could very well just be, he's like, this case is bad, I want out. Like, there is a possibility that he wants out of the case. Or can a lawyer like him not just get out of the case if they're willing to pay him at this point?
So in a
right,
state court case, in California state court case, you sign up as a criminal defense attorney at the arraignment through the preliminary hearing. So, he is obligated to represent his client unless his client lets him out or the court lets him out. So there's a professional obligation for the defense attorney to represent Nick through what's called a preliminary hearing, which is a later stage in the case. If he's kind of held to answer, meaning a judge finds there's sufficient evidence to believe that Nick committed the crime, then he's held to answer and an information is filed. And at that point, the criminal defense attorney's role would normally end unless they're rehired to handle the remaining part, meaning the trial. So he's going to need, Alan's going to need permission of the court or permission of his client to be relieved. The client, I don't know that can give permission because there's probably a claim made of Nick being so mentally ill that he cannot participate in his defense. And if that's true, he can't really give consent to hire a lawyer or let alone fire a lawyer. Right. So Alan would then have to go to court to get permission to leave. So again, it's part of our professional responsibility. We can't just quit. We have to make a motion.
But you can if they can't pay you? Like, isn't that kind of messed up?
No, you can't. You can't. So that is, so you have to ask for permission. Okay. So again, it's professional responsibility as a licensed attorney in California that once you sign on to represent a client in court, you are obligated to finish that case unless the client lets you out or the court lets you out. If you're not paid, you can ask for permission from the court to allow you to be relieved as counsel of record. The court may or may not do that. Back in the Menendez case, the Menendez retrial, Leslie Abramson got a boatload of money to represent the Menendez brothers at the first trial, hung jury. Second trial, they ran out of money, couldn't pay her. She tried to get out, and the judge says, "Too bad for you, Leslie," and made her try that case. So lack of money is not good enough. When the attorney takes on the case, you got to figure out the money part before you talk into court and sign up. So I don't think that's going to fly. It would have to be another reason saying that the client is rendered unreasonably difficult for Alan to represent him because he's not following his instructions or something like that. That is another basis to ask for permission to be relieved. The attorney cannot disclose any of the privileged information. The court just has to take his word for it, basically, and saying, "Okay, Alan, I'm letting you out, public defender in." So if he goes with, hey, the client's rendering it unreasonably difficult for me to provide a defense to him, that would be fine. I think, though, that what's unique about here is that with the insanity thing, there's two parts to that. One is, did he have the capacity to commit a crime at the time of the event? And then the second part of it is, does he have the capacity to assist his attorney in his defense? And if he doesn't have the capacity to assist the attorney in his defense, the case has got to be on hold until that gets sorted out. And I don't know that the court's going to let his attorney out at that point either. So very complicated stuff.
So as good and expensive as he is, you're sort of confirming like the family would have, or the courts would have had to remove him. He couldn't have easily removed himself. And then my next question is, could this be a strategy to sort of make Nick more of a victim? Like, oh no, now he's on the outs. How does this help Nick's case? Is this good or does this hurt it? Does this help it in any way?
It doesn't do a single thing to Nick's case, good or bad. Alan Jackson is, like I say, a very fine attorney. And, this is the most high profile case out there. So there's no way that Alan, would want out of this case. He wants into this case. He would want to stay in this case. Even if his client was being difficult, he wants to stay in this case. The only reason that I can think of why Alan's going to leave is, one, if there's a conflict of interest, meaning that he's discovered that himself or somebody at his firm represented the victims and for some reason, therefore, cannot represent Nick. And then he's required to exit the case. Or he is convinced that he'll never get paid and he doesn't want to do millions of dollars of legal work for free. And he's got the publicity that he's needed out of it and he's jumping ship.
Right, which seems like you're leaving your client in the lurch then because you sort of agreed in the top what you're supposed to get, no?
Yeah, so that'll be for the court to determine. And again, it's like, Alan is very experienced and smart. So I don't know that he's going to come in and saying, "Hey, I thought I was going to get a bunch of money and I'm not getting the money, so I'm going to leave, Judge." I really doubt he's going to say that. He would probably go with the, my client's rendered it unreasonably difficult for me to represent him. And under the rules of professional conduct in California, that is grounds for permissive withdrawal. And if the court believes that representation, they'll let him out. There are plenty of public defenders in that courthouse who are very skilled and can absolutely handle the case and would have potentially more experience than Alan Jackson in some of these cases. So that's not like I say, downtown Los Angeles, criminal courts building. These are some of the most skilled attorneys out there, including the public defender's office. So Nick Reiner is going to have a defense. This is the identity of his lawyer is not going to change the strategy that much or the outcome of his case at this stage, at least. Maybe a trial be more important, but that like I say, it's neutral to Nick because the case was going to move forward anyway. He probably was going to delay entering a not guilty plea or NGI plea, not guilty by reason of insanity plea, because he wants more time for mental health evaluations. So the case is going to linger until all that work's done.
Real quick, as the press conference is happening, I know you got to go, but is there a version where he's such a good lawyer? I'm not trying to say he's doing this, but could a good lawyer find a conflict of interest, even if there's not? Like, is that common to do if you really want to get out of a case? If you think there's no way we're winning this, there's no money in it, can big, powerful attorneys like that find an excuse if they really need to?
Well, sure. There's absolutely, if he wants out of the case, he can find a way to get out of the case. Like I say, if he's not going to get paid, that would be the reason to leave, absent a conflict of interest. But, there's so much publicity attached to this case that I got to think that he would want to be involved unless he either had to get out because of a conflict of interest, or he's so convinced that he's not going to see a dime out of this thing that he's just for his own, whatever financial security or whatever, he's got to go.
Fascinating. The press conference is about to start, guys, so we're going to stay tuned and we'll be live. Always a pleasure, Christopher. Thank you for popping in and giving us your thoughts. That helps a lot as we gear up to hear the family statement. Do you any prediction on what you think the family's going to say?
Nope.
We'll see. Stay tuned, folks. And I just wanted to put this at the end of this video, this recap. The Reiners did release a statement to the New York Times saying they have the utmost trust in the legal process and will not comment further on matters related to legal proceedings. So we're not going to get a lot from them. The new attorney was a public defender. It is confirmed. It was Kimberly Green, who has 19 years experience. The judge signed off on this change of legal representation and set a new arraignment date for February 23rd. Nick did speak up in court saying, yeah, I agree with that. Nick left the courtroom, went back to jail. He still has no bail, and Alan is about to address the media. We will report on that next, but I wanted to give you the update of what we know, the statement from the family. I'm still pretty shook. What do you guys think? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments down below.